Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled you're here because today we are digging into a story that honestly has some massive implications for the baseball landscape. The date is August 7, 2026, and we're looking at what might just be the most pivotal, season-defining roster move the Minnesota Twins have made all year. If you've been following the season, you know the tension right now is thick. The stakes could not be higher. So let's just jump right in.
Because let's be real, the Twins are in trouble, and this single stat perfectly captures the crisis. I mean, before the All-Star break, this team led the American League in runs scored. They were an absolute powerhouse. But since then, crickets. Their offense has gone completely ice cold. Scoring 3 runs or fewer in 11 out of 19 games is basically a recipe for a freefall. They are scrambling right now, desperately trying to keep their playoff hopes alive, but they're just lacking that offensive engine. Ryan Kryler has done a fantastic job stabilizing the defense at shortstop, for sure, but his bat just isn't generating the runs they need. The front office realized they literally couldn't wait any longer. They needed a spark.
So, who's coming to the rescue? Section 1. Meet Kaelen Culpepper.
Literally hours before a huge weekend series against the Milwaukee Brewers, the news broke. The Twins are pulling the trigger. They're calling up a player they desperately hope can reverse their fortunes down the stretch. And his resume? It's kind of staggering. Kaelen Culpepper is just 23 years old. He was drafted 21st overall back in 2024 out of Kansas State. He's 5'10", 185 pounds, and when I saw how fast he climbed from Fort Myers all the way to AAA St. Paul, it blew my mind. He entered 2026 as the Twins' #2 prospect, right behind Walker Jenkins. And nationally, MLB Pipeline has him at 29th overall in all of baseball, while Keith Law at The Athletic puts him at 53rd. He's not just a local favorite, the whole league is watching this guy.
And this isn't just local hype either. He's got some serious elite recognition backing him up. We're talking back-to-back All-Star Futures Game selections in 2025 and 2026. National evaluators are consistently raving about his steady hit tool and his bat speed. When you get invited to showcase your skills against the best prospects in the world 2 years in a row, it tells you exactly what kind of special talent we're dealing with here.
All right, let's look at the actual data. Section 2, the AAA numbers. Because hype is great, but when you're in a playoff push, you need proven production right now. And looking at his AAA stats, what's really interesting is the sheer versatility he brings. Over 74 games, he's rocking an .845 OPS. But let's break that down. He's got the pop, launching 14 home runs and driving in 46. And he's got the wheels, 17 stolen bases while only getting caught 3 times. It's that rare power-speed combo that makes him a dynamic threat every single time he steps onto the field. But honestly, I want to isolate this specific number for a second, because it's absolutely crucial. 17.4%. That was his remarkably low strikeout rate in 2025. In today's game, where sky-high strikeout rates are just kind of accepted as the cost of doing business for power hitters, Culpepper is different. He limits the swing and miss, he makes consistent contact, and uses the entire field. When you have a team struggling to score runs, inserting a bat that actually puts the ball in play is a total game changer.
Plus, he's riding a massive wave of momentum right now. His season average is a very solid .271, sure. But look at what he's doing right now in August. He is hitting a blistering .375. Over his last 4 games alone, he's 7 for 17 with 3 doubles and a triple. This isn't just a prospect getting called up. This is a prospect who is peaking perfectly. He's caught fire at the exact moment the big league club desperately needs someone to light a spark.
But it hasn't been a total cakewalk. Section 3. Overcoming injuries and doubts.
Yeah, before we go crowning him the savior of the season, we got to acknowledge that this incredibly fast rise was definitely tested. It wasn't a straight line to the top. If we map out his summer timeline, you can see how frustrating it really was. On June 13th, he goes down with a glute strain, literally a pain in the butt that completely derailed his summer. He tries a quick 2-game comeback in late June, his body wasn't ready, and he goes right back on the IL. Actually, add to that a separate hand injury earlier in the year too, and he wasn't fully reactivated until July 24th. Truth is, without those injuries, he probably would have been called up months ago, but he pushed through, which speaks volumes about his mental toughness.
And the physical injuries were really only half the battle. Coming into this year, there were serious questions about his defense. Evaluators were super skeptical. They noted flashes of brilliance, sure, but they questioned his range and his first-step quickness. They basically wondered if he could consistently make the routine plays at short. And in the minors, defensive consistency is often the biggest roadblock keeping a talented hitter from the big leagues. But instead of shying away from it, he just attacked it. I was really struck by this quote from Twins GM Jeremy Zoll.
He highlights how incredibly committed Culpepper was to digging in defensively and meeting the organization's challenge head-on. This wasn't a guy just waiting for his bat to carry him up. This was someone with an intense work ethic, completely determined to silence his critics on the other side of the ball.
And assistant GM Alex Hassan backed that right up, emphasizing how seriously he took the defensive feedback. Hassan specifically calls out Culpepper's incredible arm, and for good reason. Scouts give his arm strength a 60 grade on the 20/80 scale, which is well above average. He took those elite physical tools and actually put in the sweat equity to refine them.
So what's the payoff for all that hard work? It boils down to a 5. According to internal metrics, Kaelen Culpepper has saved 5 defensive runs this year. He hasn't just survived at shortstop, he's completely transformed into a remarkably reliable defender at a premium position. You combine that polished defense with his bat, and you've got a complete two-way player.
Which brings us to the big picture. Section 4, the playoff push impact. So, why does this specific move matter so much right now? Because the stakes are literally sky high. The Twins are sitting right in the thick of a super tense playoff race. As of today, they're just 3 games back of the Chicago White Sox for the lead in the AL Central. Every single game from here on out is an absolute dogfight. There's zero margin for error, and they are dropping a 23-year-old rookie right into the center of this pressure cooker.
But, the front office is fully convinced he's built for this. Jeremy Zoll perfectly captures Culpepper's relentless character here. He says Culpepper doesn't just want to coast along and get to the big leagues just to say he did. He wants to be the absolute best player he can be. He isn't arriving in the majors to take a victory lap. He's arriving to do damage, and the Twins are betting that his drive is exactly what their clubhouse needs right now.
So it all comes down to this dramatic question. A first-round pick, a top prospect who battled injuries and completely transformed his defense to become the total package. He steps onto the field tonight for his major league debut with the weight of a playoff push on his shoulders. Will Kaelen Culpepper be the spark that finally reignites this Minnesota Twins offense? One thing is for sure. Baseball fans everywhere should be eager to watch him take the field this weekend. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep your eyes on the diamond, and as always, never stop learning.